Ever played football with a Canon L series lens before? I have. Hello and welcome to another TOG Tuesday, where I tell you an anecdotal story about some of my journeys in photography. Now this one was quite interesting. It was at a wedding gig, so I was shooting a wedding, or second shooting with a friend of mine, and I'd got my own kit with me, and I'd also got some of my colleagues' kit with me as well, to shoot with for the day. When you're shooting weddings, there are certain points where there's kind of a lull in proceedings, and this is one of those. It was one of those occasions where everybody had eaten, everybody was getting drinks from the bar, we were getting merry, and everybody's kind of waiting for, kind of the next part of the wedding, which would have been sort of the disco starting, the dancing and all the merriment of the evening. So people were just milling around, and I was getting a lot of candid shots. And I had a wide angle lens on at the time, I remember, because I was doing some shooting. I was shooting wide, basically. I was getting a lot of sort of the top table in, and I just needed to change my lens. So I was taking a wide angle off and putting on a 70-200 f4L. So I remember clicking out the other lens and putting it in my bag, putting the cap on, putting that in my bag, and clicking quite quickly. You get used to doing this a lot at weddings, and quite quickly clicking the zoom into place. Now, on most camera bodies, on most DSLRs, the mechanism, you can hear it click in, and what I always check is when I screw the lens to the camera body, it clicks in, and I always tug it back a little bit, so I pull it back, just make sure it's clicked in. If it's clicked in, it's not going to pull back, there's going to be some resistance there. I do it every time, and the lens was secured to the camera body. So naturally I just put all the other bits and pieces away that I was dealing with at the time, lifted the camera to start shooting. I think I took about 3 or 4 shots, and the lens fell off the body, just literally went, and it was like almost in slow motion. It was like cartoon world. It was very, very, very odd. I had no idea why this lens had come off the body, absolutely no idea at all, but it just fell. So I've got my camera up, and it fell forward. I could see it going and like tumbling down, and the weight off the camera, because these a 70-200 L Canon lens, it's got some weight in it, and it just, the whole body just kind of lifted up, and this lens fell away. And I remember I couldn't get to it with my hands because my hands were securing the camera. It all happened so very quickly. So I made a lunge for it with my foot, and I kicked it up into the air. I didn't want this thing to hit the floor because it's got lots of glass in it, and they're quite expensive lenses. So I kicked this thing up into the air. Not that kicking it's any good, by the way. Just thought I'd mention, but I thought that was better to try and save the lens before it hit the ground. So anyway, kicked it up into the air, and it spun up into the air, and it was right in front of me. And I knew at that point I still couldn't get to it with my hands. So, and then it started falling again, and I went to kick it again, and it spun. And this time I went to kick it with my left leg, because I'd hit it twice with my right. Went to kick it with my left leg, it came up again, and at this point I made a lunge with it with my left hand to see if I could get this lens, and I completely knocked it and missed it, and it spun out of control and just went and cracked itself into the floor. And then I got, to my surprise, there was a little bit of a round of applause and some laughing, lots of laughter, because the whole congregation had witnessed this, obviously. And I felt rather embarrassed, but more to the point, I was very worried about the lens. Now, why was I worried about the lens? Well, they're expensive lenses, and who wants to break L series lenses? Not me. But it wasn't my lens. You see, I was using my kit, and I was also using some colleagues' kit as well, and it was his lens, and I was mortified, absolutely mortified. So I picked it up, I tried to put it back on the body, immediately had a look at it, it seemed fine. I tried to click it back into the camera to see if it would work, and it just wouldn't click into the camera. So what had happened to it was the mechanism where it clicks in, the metal mechanism at the end of the lens where it clicks into the actual body, I think had been bent. It got a little buckle in it, because they're precision engineered things, these lenses. Anything that's slightly amiss, they're not going to work properly. So I had to go and tell then my colleague what had happened, and he's like, he goes, what have you done? And I was like, this has just happened, and I'm mortified, and I'm ever sorry. You could see that I was mortified, and he took it off me and had a look at it and goes, look, no worries, we've got insurance for this. It'll get fixed. Don't worry about it. Just get on with the rest of the day, which I did. But and I went back to it. But yeah, not a great thing to happen to you at a wedding. Like I say, got a bit of a round of applause for it. Everybody saw the funny side. I eventually saw the funny side, but yeah, don't. So I think the moral of this story is just don't play football with the Canon L series lenses, or any lenses for that matter. They're not the best things to play football with, to be honest. It's probably just best not to. Yep, so that happened to me at a wedding. For a little while I played football with a 70-200 zoom, which I can't say it was exhilarating. It was very odd. I have no idea to this day why it came off the camera. I have no idea, because I clicked it in and I did the test. I pulled it back on itself, and it should not have come apart, but it did. Who knows? It will remain one of life's mysteries. Yeah, but I've got the memory. Hope it never happens again. So anyway, thanks for dropping by and listening to my Togtail Tuesday tale for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't play football with lenses. Probably not a good idea. Enjoy, and until next time, I will catch you later. Bye for now.